bow is even easier to wipe down. You just stick your cloth behind there. I kind of wrap it around like that. And literally this is all you have to do. Done. Super simple. That also keeps the rosin from building up behind there on the wood. Again, you're gonna have the same problems. It's just gonna get gross, and you know, it's so easy to take care of it, so why not? Another really simple way to maintain your bow, and something that you wanna do after every single practice session, is just untighten it. So you don't wanna unscrew it completely. Some people make the mistake of actually unscrewing it to the point where this piece comes out, and then it's just not necessary to do that, and it can kind of cause problems over time if you do it too much. But yeah, you just want the hairs to be kind of loosely dangling. The whole point is to take pressure off of the wood, because otherwise if you leave it tightened sitting for a long time, it can actually start to warp the wood and it'll bend the bow in various directions. So it's not something you want to do. It'll unbalance your bow. It'll make playing a little bit more difficult even. So again, you just untighten it just to the point where that pressure is kind of relieved and you start seeing a few of those hairs dangle down, and that's it. Then you put it back in your case and you're all good to go. Another really easy way to maintain your bow is just by avoiding touching the bow hairs with your hands directly. I mean, if you touch it, it's not the end of the world. It's certainly not going to break anything, but you just, you know, I've seen some people where they actually grab their bows like that, or, you know, they'll just have their hands on it for whatever reason, and you really want to avoid doing that, because everyone has natural oils, and those oils can get on the hair, and then that interferes with the job that the rosin is trying to do when gripping your string. So just avoid touching the bow hair with your hands if you can. Another question I've had about the bow is how often you should rehair it. So I've actually heard some people ask if you need to purchase a brand new bow when you need new hair, and definitely not. You actually take it to a qualified violin shop where they know how to rehair the bow, and you just leave it there. Usually it can take anywhere from a couple of days to a week or so for them to finish up, because usually they have a lot of other bows that they're working on too. If you're a beginner, it's kind of like violin strings. You kind of can just keep using it until it really just doesn't feel right anymore. I don't think I got any rehairs on my beginner bows ever, actually. Now with my professional bow, I rehair that just about every 3 to 6 months. It depends on how much I've been playing, how much I've been traveling, because all of that can affect how fast I need a rehair. But if you're using a beginner violin bow, then it probably would actually cost more to rehair the bow than it costs for the bow itself, so that's something to consider. A rehair is usually around $60, $60 to $75 is generally what I've paid for mine. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't really need to do that until you upgrade and get a nicer bow, so I would just not worry about that if I was a beginner. But if you do have a nicer bow, then maybe doing it every 6 months to a year, or sooner than that, depending how often you're playing. So that's about it. For me, I usually take my nice violin in about once a year just to have like a checkup. Sometimes they'll need to move the bridge around a little bit. I've never had anyone need to do any sound post work. That's a little bit more involved, so I've been fortunate there. But it's just pretty simple taking care of your violin on a regular basis. You know, when you put it back in the case, just make sure that all of the little latches and everything are tightened up, because you don't want things falling out and you don't want your instrument banging around if you're carrying it around or anything like that. So just be careful there. Hopefully these tips helped you guys. I'm going to go more in depth on the bow and how to take care of the bow, how to rosin it, tightening and untightening, all of that in a separate video, so I'll be posting that soon. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.